Hello friends, welcome back to the vlog. So today we are going to make a recipe, sourdough English muffins. This is special to me because this is my first time making it, but this video is going to be shown on Sunday, February 23rd, which is my father's birthday. My father passed away in 2020, so 5 years, and he was a chef. And one of the things that I have in memory of him was his love of Egg McMuffins at McDonald's. So I just picture that had he been here, I would have, tried to make these for him to enjoy. And I think he really would have gotten a kick out of my channel and what I'm doing. I have bits of him in the kitchen, from knives to an appliance. Like, he's here in little bits and pieces. And I just thought that was a special way to honor him and celebrate him. And it would have been his 66th birthday. So happy heavenly birthday, Dad. And let's get to the recipe. So, how we're going to start is we got 3/4 of a cup of active sourdough starter. Now, you could add this to a bowl if you were going to use a KitchenAid mixer, but I am going to put this in my bread machine. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit later. I do feel like in my bread recipes that the bread machine is good for the bulk fermenting and rising. The bulk fermenting and rising, those kind of things. So now I have a tablespoon of sugar that I need to add to the sourdough. And then we have here a mixture of 1 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of water, and 3 tablespoons of butter. You have to microwave that for about 40-ish or so minutes, just until the butter melts. And then we're going to add this now into our bowl. And I have the spatula here, so I'm just going to mix this around just to get the starter dissolved in this warm liquid. I will credit who I got the recipe from in the description, along with the recipe. Okay, so it looks like it's all pretty dissolved in there. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, and now because we have all of that incorporated, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in our machine here, because then it'll do the rest of the work. Okay, we have 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and we have 1/2 tablespoon of sea salt. All right, let me try the best way I can. Because you know how I feel about making messes. So this recipe calls for all-purpose flour, not bread flour. Okay. So now I am going to set the bread machine to knead. I think that's the one I use. And it'll do all the mixing, go through the whole process, and it'll bulk ferment. And we're going to leave this overnight. Now, if you use the KitchenAid mixer for this, when you get to this part, you'd want to wrap the bowl, stick it in the fridge to bulk ferment up to 10 hours. But again, the beauty for me is that the machine does all the work for me while I'm sleeping. So I am going to do this now, and then I will pick back up with you guys in the morning for the next steps on our English muffin. Okay, it's the next day, and we have allowed this to bulk ferment. I have, it doubled. For sure it did. You know what? I need to put down some. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Put some flour down. There we go. Just a little rice flour on the hand so we can manipulate this thing. And let's get this started to get it out of here. Now, this is a wet dough. But my, oh my, does it smell good. It smells like yeast bread. It took the paddle. It took the paddle out with it. Now some more in here. Let's see if I can get a scraper. That might be helpful. And get that out. There we go. Okay. All right. There we go. I will get to that later. Top of there. Let's do it a little. Get this little piece out of here. It's a beautiful dough. All right. So what we got to do now is try to get this. What the heck did I do? Try to get this out into a rectangle. We want it to be about 3/4 of an inch wide. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my ring here, and I'm going to try to get as many as I can out, and then we'll put it on a baking sheet to do another rise before we bake it. I have cornmeal here that I'm going to put down on the base. You can use semolina flour if you have it. I didn't buy any because I knew I already had this in the pantry that I haven't used just yet. So we're just going to use this. And honestly, I had bought this because I was thinking about making some pizza. But hadn't got around to that yet. So this is Bob's Red Mill. All right, let me rinse my hands off just a tad. Okay, so we have gotten our dough shaped, and I am just going to cover it with a towel and let it sit here for about an hour to do another rise, and then we're ready to make our English muffins. Okay, so it's time for us to make our English muffins. I'm gonna lift this up. Look how beautiful they've gotten, guys. They've raised very nicely. See that? All right, so what we're going to do is kind of an assembly line type of situation. I think I'm going to do them in batches, so we'll get it done the most effectively. These are so soft and fluffy. I am so excited. I put it on my griddle because I thought that would be the easiest way to have an even distribution of heat for all of them to cook completely at once. So, see how this goes. Okay. Need an internal temperature of 200 degrees. And if you can't get that by achieving it on a griddle or a skillet, you can also put them in the oven to finish off until they're completely done. Okay, I'm down to my last two. The shapes might come out a little wonky, but you know, this is not store-bought. This is homemade, and that's just par for the course. All of these are done, which are great. I'm trying to find one that's not so hot. So this is what the bottom looks like with the cornmeal. I'm sure with the semolina, it would probably look a little more polished. So this is a little more rustic. And here is the top. And then you do your little fork thing to open them up. What I'm going to do though, is I'm going to pop these in the oven for a little bit, just to be on the safe side that they're all done. After I do this, they browned perfectly on both sides. And I feel like this one is the best one, I think. This one's my best. I feel like put them in the thing, in the oven, and let them, you know, finish whatever for a few minutes, and then we'll be good to go. And there's the oven. I think my last two are my most perfect ones. I did turn up the dial just a little bit on the griddle too. I put it up to like 350. That seems to have worked well for these all the way. They're just not browning as much, but the fact is I'm gonna have to put this in a toaster to eat it, so it'll be fine. But look at that browning on that, you guys. I don't want it to fall. Let me make sure I can. Look at the browning on that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Now we are done. I'm going to pull out the ones from the oven. Okay, we are just one short of a dozen. But you guys, you got to get into this. Look at these, okay? I am going to wrap these up and put them in the refrigerator. And I might, depending on how I feel, make up some breakfast sandwiches just to have in the freezer, you know, on the go. So we'll see how that goes. I think for right now, I'm going to take one of these because you got to do a taste test. I've never done this little fork trick, but they claim that's the thing to do. I never really liked these too much growing up. I didn't really start appreciating them until I got older. And they are really good. Ah, they are really good. Let's see the little nooks and crannies. They are really good with sausage and grape jelly. Could be my Carolina roots coming out. I always liked a good sausage biscuit with some grape jelly on it. Okay. So we got our butter. Probably should have made an egg McMuffin since I went through this effort to do a tribute for my dad, but I think he understands. He knows me. He knows me. That's just not my jam. It definitely was his though. All right. So we got some grape jelly, we got some butter. There's some crunchiness. But this is overall a very soft bread recipe. I really do like it. You know, my other favorite thing is the Portuguese English muffins. Oh my gosh. But they're sweeter. I wonder what it takes. Maybe adding honey. Who knows? Well, I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that you try this recipe. Excuse me. Let me know down below if you're going to use it for your meal prep or, you know, maybe just a brunch with the family or something. Maybe you'll do it for a hosting situation. Share it down below. If you have any feedback or what you think I could have done differently as well, I'm open to that, as this is my first time making them. They didn't turn out bad, so I'm really glad about that. As always, thank you so much for watching, and take care, friends.